All right, so welcome back for another deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at some seriously cutting-edge stuff. Google's latest quantum AI breakthroughs, to be exact. We're talking about their new Willow chip and how it's changing the game for solving problems that were pretty much impossible before.
Yeah, it really is amazing. We're seeing the potential for computations that would take a classical supercomputer longer than the universe has even existed, and we can do them in just minutes.
I know, it's crazy. We've been digging into all sorts of sources for this one. Google's research, some really cool Forbes articles, even a tech influencer's breakdown on YouTube. It's clear that the quantum realm is becoming more real and fast. So, why don't we kick things off with a little virtual tour of Google's quantum AI lab. They actually gave us a peek behind the curtain in this blog post.
Yeah, and the level of precision engineering involved is mind-blowing. You know, we've talked about qubits before and how they can be 1 and 0 at the same time.
Right, superposition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, controlling that is one of the biggest challenges in building a quantum computer.
I can imagine. It's not easy working with these qubits. They're so sensitive to any disturbance.
They really are. Like the divas of the computing world, building a quantum computer is kind of like constructing a fortress of solitude for these qubits. They need protection from everything. Radio waves, electromagnetic fields, even cosmic rays.
Wow. It's amazing that they can even create these chips in the first place. This isn't exactly the kind of tech you can just order off Amazon.
They're telling me it's all so new. They're using superconducting integrated circuits to create these insanely precise patterns that form the qubits, all in-house. But let's talk about the real star of the show, the Willow chip. This isn't just another quantum chip. This represents a huge leap forward in terms of error correction.
Oh, and why is that so important?
Well, like we said, qubits are incredibly sensitive. They're prone to errors, and those errors can totally wreck a computation. What Google has achieved with Willow is something that researchers have been after for decades. They've reduced errors exponentially. As they've scaled up the number of qubits, they've reached what's called below threshold error correction.
Okay, so break it down for me. What does below threshold error correction actually mean?
So think of it this way. For the first time, they're able to reduce errors faster than they're adding qubits. It's kind of like finally figuring out how to build a skyscraper that doesn't collapse under its own weight.
Oh.
It's essential for building larger, more powerful quantum computers.
That makes a lot of sense. And to prove Willow's power, they put it to the test with something called random circuit sampling, right?
They did. It's a standard benchmark in the field.
Yeah.
And get this, it would take a supercomputer 10 septillion years to complete this task. Willow did it in under 5 minutes.
Under 5 minutes? That's incredible. But okay, what does this actually mean for us? For solving real-world problems, I mean?
It's a big step towards what we call beyond classical computations, problems that were simply impossible to solve before. We could revolutionize so many fields, from medicine to energy.
I mean, that's incredible, but how do we actually go from a super fast computation to curing diseases or solving the energy crisis?
Well, there's still a few hurdles to overcome. As impressive as Willow is, error correction is still a major challenge. Even with all the progress they've made, we're still not at the level of accuracy we need for the really complex calculations. That could lead to those kinds of breakthroughs.
So what's the solution then?
Here's where things get really interesting. They're using AI to help fix the errors in quantum calculations.
Wait, really? Like teaching AI to think like a quantum physicist?
Exactly. It's called AlphaQubit, DeepMind's AI decoder. It's basically a neural network, which is a type of AI that's really good at recognizing patterns. They've trained it to act like a spell checker for quantum computations.
Okay, walk me through this. How does this AI actually work?
So first, it's trained on tons of simulated data, thousands of examples from a quantum computer simulator. This gives AlphaQubit a basic understanding of how quantum computations work and how errors can pop up. Then they take it to the next level.
And what's that?
They fine-tuned AlphaQubit using real data from Google's Sycamore quantum computer, the same one that hit quantum supremacy a while back, remember?
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's like giving the AI a hands-on internship in the quantum lab.
That's a great analogy. I like that. So what kind of results are they seeing with this approach?
It's pretty impressive. AlphaQubit is already outperforming other decoders out there. It's achieving 98.5% error correction accuracy.
Wow, that's a huge improvement. I imagine there's still a long way to go before this is ready for prime time, right?
Yeah, that's true. The decoding speed needs to increase, like tenfold, to keep up with the speed of these quantum processors. And the accuracy needs to get even better, closer to 1 error per trillion operations. For those really complex computations we talked about.
Yeah. So it sounds like we're still in the early stages, but at least things are moving quickly. But Google's not the only one making progress here, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. What's really exciting is that this breakthrough at Google has triggered a ton of investment and innovation across the whole industry, where we're seeing a huge surge of activity. In the quantum computing space, venture funding is pouring in, governments are making big investments, and tech giants like Microsoft, IBM, even Amazon, partnered with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
They're all racing to advance the field.
It sounds like a quantum gold rush is starting. But it's not just about building bigger and better quantum computers, is it? It's about figuring out how to use them to actually solve those real-world problems.
Exactly, and that's where things get really exciting. Yeah, that's where things get really exciting. I mean, we've laid the groundwork. We've explored the core technology. Now we can really start to imagine how quantum AI might change the world as we know it.
Exactly. But like with any powerful technology, we have to consider not just the benefits, but the potential downsides as well. What kind of risks are we looking at when we're talking about something as powerful as quantum AI?
That's the key question, really. We can't get caught up in the shiny new possibilities without thinking about the consequences. One of the biggest concerns, and Anastasia in Tech brought this up in her video, is the impact on privacy.
Right. If quantum AI can analyze huge amounts of data, find patterns we wouldn't even know to look for, it could be incredibly powerful, maybe even a little invasive.
It could. Think about all the data we generate every day. Our online activity, our financial transactions, even our movements are tracked. Now imagine a system that can go through all that and extract really detailed profiles of individuals. It's kind of fascinating and frightening at the same time.
Totally. It's like we'd be giving governments and corporations a superpower when it comes to surveillance. We could end up in a world where we're constantly being monitored and analyzed. That's a little unsettling to think about.
For sure. And it's not just governments. Companies could use this tech too, to manipulate consumer behavior or target individuals in a way that feels really intrusive. We need to be careful about how we protect privacy in a world with quantum AI.
It does feel like we're on the verge of a whole new era of data security and privacy. We need to start these conversations now about how to protect individual rights when we have this level of technological power.
Absolutely. We need strong regulations and ethical frameworks in place to make sure quantum AI is used responsibly. We also need to educate people about the potential risks so people can demand those protections.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not just about protecting privacy either, right? There are also worries about how quantum AI could make existing inequalities even worse.
That's a really important point. We know AI systems can be biased based on the data they're trained on. If we aren't careful, quantum AI could amplify those biases and lead to even more discrimination in areas like hiring, lending, even criminal justice.
It's like we'd be giving a supercharged weapon. To systems that are already flawed, we need to be extra careful to ensure fairness and equity in how we develop and use quantum AI.
Yes, we can't just assume that technology will be neutral or objective. We need to address potential biases head on and make sure quantum AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Right. It's not just about the technology itself, but who controls it and how it's used. We have to think about access, power dynamics, and the potential for good and for harm.
Exactly. And we have to have these conversations now. While this field is still relatively young, we have a chance to shape quantum AI in a way that puts human values first and helps create a more just and equitable future.
I completely agree. It's a huge responsibility, but we can't ignore it. But maybe we can shift gears a bit and talk about the potential impact on jobs. I know a lot of people are worried about that.
Yeah, and they have every right to be. The fear of automation is understandable. We've already seen how AI and robotics have displaced workers in some industries. Quantum AI could make that happen even faster.
That's true. If quantum AI can do things that are impossible for humans, what happens to the future of work? Will there even be jobs left for us?
It's a valid concern. But we have to remember, technology also creates new jobs in industries, like the internet. It completely changed how we live and work, but it also created so many new opportunities.
So you're saying we shouldn't necessarily be afraid of quantum AI, but we need to be ready for the changes it will bring.
Exactly. We need to start thinking now about how we can retrain workers for the jobs of the future. We need to invest in education and skill development, especially in things like data science, computer programming, and quantum engineering.
It's like we need a massive upskilling initiative to get the workforce ready for the quantum era.
That's a great way to put it. We also need to think about social safety nets for those who lose their jobs to automation, maybe things like universal basic income or guaranteed job programs.
It's a big challenge, but one we need to face. We can't just ignore the potential consequences and hope for the best.
I agree. It'll take a lot of collaboration and creative thinking. But I'm optimistic that we can find solutions that work for everyone.
I'm glad to hear that. But before we go too far, it's important to remember that we're still in the early days of quantum AI. There's still a lot of unknowns and challenges ahead.
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in the hype. But we need to stay grounded. There's still a ton of research and development to do before quantum AI becomes mainstream.
That's true, but that's what makes all of this so exciting, isn't it? We're watching the birth of a whole new technological era. There's so much potential for innovation and discovery.
It really is a fascinating time to be alive. We're at a pivotal moment. And the choices we make now will have a huge impact on the future.
Speaking of the future, there's another aspect of this quantum AI conversation that we haven't even touched on yet. The relationship between AI and quantum computing itself.
Oh, right. It's not just a one-way street.
Mhm.
We've talked about how AI can improve quantum computing, but quantum computing could also reshape AI.
Yeah. Anastasia in Tech mentioned that in her video. She said quantum computers could accelerate AI development in ways we can't even imagine right now.
Yeah, she's right. Classical computers have limitations when it comes to processing huge data sets, which you need for training advanced AI models. It's like trying to run a marathon with weights on your ankles. Quantum computers could take those weights off and let us train AI models that are way more complex and powerful.
So we could have AI systems that can solve problems we thought were impossible, like developing new materials, creating personalized medicine, even modeling the entire human brain.
Exactly. Those are just a few examples. And it's not just about speed and scale either. Quantum computing could lead to new types of AI algorithms, ones that use the weirdness of quantum mechanics,
Yeah.
like superposition and entanglement.
So it's not just doing things faster, it's doing things in a completely different way.
Right, like opening up a whole new toolbox for AI developers.
This is blowing my mind. It's like we're on the verge of a double revolution. Quantum computing changing AI, and AI changing everything else.
It really is an incredible time to be following these developments. But there's another interesting angle to consider, and it might seem a bit strange. As AI gets more sophisticated, it might actually make some quantum computing applications obsolete.
Wait, what? How could AI make quantum computing obsolete? I thought they were supposed to work together.
It's a fascinating possibility. As AI gets more powerful, it might be able to find shortcuts or develop new algorithms that can get similar results to quantum computing. But on regular computers, like AI figuring out how to cheat at the quantum game.
So instead of needing a super expensive quantum computer, we could just use AI to get the same results on a regular computer.
That's the idea. It's still super early, and we don't know if it will actually happen, but it's an interesting concept. That highlights the complex relationship between AI and quantum computing.
It really makes you wonder what the future holds. Will AI make quantum computing more accessible and powerful? Or could AI make some quantum computing applications obsolete? It's a really interesting question.
It is. And it's one we'll be thinking about for a while. But no matter what happens, I think it's safe to say that AI and quantum computing coming together will have a huge impact on the world.
It does feel like we're seeing the start of a new era of computing, one that could change everything we know about technology, science, even ourselves. It's exciting and a little bit scary at the same time.
I agree. We're on the edge of something truly transformative. But it's up to us to make sure that this transformation is a good one. We need to approach this new frontier with a sense of wonder and responsibility, embracing the potential, but being mindful of the risks.
You know, we've spent the last couple parts of this deep dive exploring the potential of quantum AI, both the advancements and the big questions about privacy, equity, and jobs. But I bet some of you listening are wondering, okay, all of this is fascinating, but what can I do to get ready for this quantum future?
Yeah, that's a fair question. It's such a revolutionary technology that it can be hard to see how it connects to our everyday lives. But this isn't science fiction. It's happening now, and it's going to impact every part of society.
So where do we even begin?
Well, let's break it down, starting with what individuals can do. The most important thing, in my opinion, is just to learn about quantum computing and AI. There are so many resources available, from articles and videos to online courses.
I think sometimes people hear quantum and their eyes kind of glaze over. They think it's too complicated. But it doesn't have to be intimidating. Remember that YouTube video from Bernard Marr? He explained quantum AI in such a clear way.
Exactly. You don't need to become a quantum physicist overnight. Even a basic understanding will help. Make sense of all these changes that are coming and how they might affect you.
It's like learning a new language. You don't need to be fluent, just enough to get the gist of the conversation.
Right? And who knows, maybe you'll discover a new passion. Maybe you'll be the one developing the next big quantum algorithm.
That would be amazing. But okay, what about businesses? How should they be thinking about this? About preparing for this quantum era, I mean.
I think the first step is simple. Pay attention. Don't dismiss this as something that's way off in the future. Things are changing fast.
It's true. Remember those Forbes articles? Companies are pouring money into this, and they're already trying out real-world applications. This isn't theoretical anymore.
Nope. Businesses need to be thinking about how quantum AI might change their industry and how they can use this technology to stay ahead.
So it's not just about being aware, it's about being proactive.
Exactly. It might mean partnering with quantum computing companies, investing in research and development, or even just building up internal expertise.
It's recognizing that this is a huge shift and being ready to adapt.
Yeah. And it's not just tech companies. Quantum AI is going to affect pretty much every sector.
Yeah.
Healthcare, finance, manufacturing, transportation.
So even if you're not at Google or IBM, you still need to know what's coming.
Absolutely. Now, policymakers, they have a really important role to play here.
Right. We were talking earlier about ethical guidelines and regulations to make sure quantum AI is developed and used responsibly to address those privacy and equity concerns.
Exactly. They need to be proactive, not just reacting after something happens. We need to be thinking about data security, workforce displacement, and how to prevent misuse of this technology.
And making sure quantum AI benefits everyone, not just a small group.
Right. That might mean investing in education and training to prepare the workforce, setting up social safety nets for people who lose their jobs to automation, promoting international collaboration. So the benefits of quantum AI are shared globally.
It's a lot, but it's so important.
It is. That's the message I really want to leave with everyone today. The quantum revolution is coming, and we all have a part to play in shaping it.
It can feel a bit overwhelming, but it's also so exciting. This is our chance to be part of something huge, something that could change the world.
It really is. So
Yeah.
stay informed, stay curious, and get involved. The future is quantum, and it's full of possibilities.
I love that. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into quantum AI. Until next time.